Hi, this is a ZvP on Medusa. As you may notice, this was played during B ranks. My opponent is maybe around B plus Protoss or so. Um, a lot of people have been asking for me to make a ZvP on Medusa, and here it is, I guess. There's really not so much to the ZvP. In my opinion, playing ZvP in this map is far easier than in many other maps. You have quite a few easy expansions. It's quite easy defending, uh, and so on. But the one thing you gotta take really to account is that your opponent has the mineral only, as well as his gas expansion, which he gets pretty much for free and very early, and thus the army he makes can be like 30 to 50% larger than what you'd expect. So you gotta take that to account when you're fighting a Protoss. Like, they can just push out with an amazing number of units, and you're like totally dumbfounded on where all this stuff came from. So just take that to account. Don't be arrogant even if your opponent is contained or something. Just play normal. Over in this game I decided to go with a 12 hat build. For the reason I didn't set my 9th drone to scout is this: I can send 2 drones to my expansion, which makes it easier for me to place the hatchery, and secondly, besides that, it also gives me slightly better economy. However, I want to scout with my 12th drone. In a 2-player map I possibly wouldn't, but over here I want to scout with my 12th drone, so that I have a slightly better idea what he's doing and so on. He built a pylon at my natural, so I decided to misplace my hatchery slightly. I make a 12 hat, 11 pool. You really have a lot of options in this map. You could go over pool, and whatever else. Runbys are not too hard over here, or just over pool without gas and and force him to cannon up a bit, and whatever else. The only things what he really can do is fast expand, and secondly, a double 9-9 gate in his choke. Since if he places his gateways properly, he will only leave 1 or 2 gaps for Zerglings to run through from, so it's not too hard to defend. Over here I was able to block his nexus a little bit, so he placed a gateway instead at first. He probably had like 500 minerals, so he decided to just place a gateway and then a nexus when the area has been cleared up. However, I was able to slow him down quite a bit with it. I decided to build a couple of links at first. I had a feeling that his cannons may be just slightly late, but I also just want to drive the probe away quickly, since I don't want him to know what I'm doing. It's very important as a Zerg player to not let the Protoss know anything more than simply necessary on what you're doing. It really makes such a massive difference. Here I'm trying to kind of micro my links. You gotta always try to drive the probe to some kind of a corner, and when you micro, so things get a bit easier. Over here, nowadays a lot of Zergs decide to go with a Neosauran Zerg, 3 hats, 3 hat lair and a spire, and then add 2 more hatcheries or so, and make like Hydras and Mutas and Hydras from there and so on. Over here I noticed that he started a cannon a bit late, but it was in time nevertheless. My links wouldn't have been able to be there in time, so I didn't mind too much. Over here he was able to, like I said, this time I decided to go with a 4 or 5 hat Hydra build. The main reason for that would be that he blocked that 1 hatchery attempt. So if I want to go 3 hat build, like 3 hat spire, my economy is gonna be much worse because I misplaced 1 hatchery. Of course I can mine minerals over there, but I won't be able to mine gas so fast if I want to use it for mutas, supposing that I do. And secondly, the mineral gathering is gonna be slower as well. So I decided to adapt somehow, try and switch the disadvantage to some kind of an advantage. So I started with the 4 hatcheries, build a new gas, then start my 5th hatchery as I had extra money. In case you wonder, I really don't have so accurate build orders myself. I always adapt to the game, however it feels necessary and whatever I feel best. So I usually just build my 3 hatcheries with a specific timing, but after that I pretty much just build hatcheries whenever I have extra money. The timings are quite good, and I don't build them uselessly that way if the game doesn't require it. So right now I don't really need to make any links or anything. My scouting proves that he will not have a probe in the middle of the map to suddenly send it inside my main when my links are at his choke. So I just decide to leave all of my links over there. I don't really need to kill any scouts, so those links are very good when picking off probes and so on. I decided to go with a Hydra build this time, to kind of like with a good economy, but I'm still gonna be able to take him off guard with those quick Hydras and so on. It's a pretty old school build, but I decided that it could be good in this game, since that way I can get better economy, as I had to misplace that hatchery. Well, it's not like I'd get a bad economy either way, but I just decided to be safe about it. You may have noticed that I also moved my overlords from their normal position around his base a little bit. There's a quite simple reason for that, as you may have already thought of it. I want them to survive a bit longer from Corsair harasses and attacks. If my overlords can survive long enough, and then before I bring Hydras over there, then the pressure I might add to the Protoss is gonna be twice as powerful, since I have detection that way right away. He can't drive my Hydras away with 1 or 2 High Templars. Dark Templars. I can just bring my Hydras over, and my overlords are protected, and I'm fine. Now that it's clear, I just bring my overlord a bit closer to their spots. Also notice that even now I'm not making a 100% Hydras or anything. I still build drones and so on. Successfully building drones in a good manner is something to be proud of, and it's something that defines a good Zerg partly. It's very important that you know when to build units and when to build drones. Over here I decided to start off with a couple more units than normal before I had proper economy, simply because I wanted to add some pressure on him, since I cannot wait for too long before I add pressure. He will have too much time to prepare and whatever else. But I decided to kind of like I make some units, but I also get my economy up pretty quick. It's very necessary that I do that. I gotta get my economy up as quick as possible. But I still wanted to add some pressure on him. I wanted to get those Hydras so I can stop any harassing attempts and so on. At this point, I have a pretty good economy already. I'm already thinking about a new expansion. I also started a very quick lurker upgrade. Like, it's not like I'm gonna do or win the game with Hydras alone over here. I'm gonna try for a bit. Like, I push out, and hopefully it's gonna be before he has Storm. But he already has High Templars, so I'm very careful over here that I don't lose too many Hydras to those Storms. He has High Templars, he has Cannons, he has Zealots, so I just pretty much leave that attacking attempt over there. I also was able to know a bit more precisely on what he has, so it really isn't much of a problem. Over here, he somehow lured a few Hydras, so a couple of them died. But at this point, since I started off with a 5 hatchery build, my economy and my Hydras production is so great that he's not gonna run over my army anyway. Of course, that's bad, but it's not something that will really affect the course of the game at this point. right at this point you gotta start to think what is good in this map. And in some maps it might be good to just get a quick hive, or maybe take more expansions, or whatever else you're gonna do. Maybe start making links instead of hiders, whatever you do. I had a bit unsuccessful hydra dodging over there, so